Hey, sports card fans, it's John, Boggs fan. Hope you're all doing well. This is season 2, episode 19, in which I choose my top 5 favorite cards of a particular player. Now, at the end of last week's video, I spun the wheel of names and it landed on Dave Parker. Now, for some of you who may not be too familiar with Dave Parker, born June 9th, 1951 in Grenada, Mississippi, David Gene Parker was raised in Cincinnati and spent hours at Crosley Field watching Reds legends Frank Robinson and Vada Pinson. A standout high school football player, Parker injured his knee during his senior year and was sidelined through the baseball season. Without much of a track record, the athletic Parker, who would grow to 6'5" and 225 pounds, fell to the 14th round of the 1970 MLB draft, where he was selected by the Pirates. With his knee finally healed, Parker tore through the minor leagues and debuted in Pittsburgh in July 1973. 6 months before, the legendary Pirates right fielder Roberto Clemente had perished in a plane crash. Now the team had the player who would succeed Clemente and possessed several of his on-field talents. By 1975, Parker was a regular and led the National League in slugging percentage. 2 years later, he topped all National League batters with a .338 average while recording 26 assists, the most by any right fielder since Clemente had the same number in 1961. Then in 1978, Parker won the National League Most Valuable Player award after leading the league in batting average, .334, OPS, .979, and total bases, 340. During that season, he broke his cheekbone after colliding with Mets catcher John Stearns at a play at the plate, but returned just 2 weeks later wearing a hockey goalie mask and later a football face mask. He soon signed a contract worth a reported $1 million a year, then led the Pirates to the postseason after his 1979 All-Star Game heroics. He hit .333 in the National League Championship Series versus the Reds and .345 in the World Series versus the Orioles, helping Pittsburgh win the title. After another All-Star season in 1980, however, Parker's career was sidetracked due to injuries, weight gain, and recreational substance abuse. When Parker's contract expired following the 1983 season, he returned home to play for the Reds. It turned into a rebirth of his career as Parker hit like his vintage self for 4 years, especially in 1985 when he led the National League in doubles, 42, RBIs, 125, and total bases, 350, while finishing second in the league's MVP balloting. After averaging 26 home runs and 108 RBI per season for the Reds, Parker was traded to Oakland, where he helped the A's win 2 pennants and the 1989 World Series. Parker was named the American League's Outstanding Designated Hitter in 1989 and repeated that honor in 1990 when he was with the Brewers before ending his career with the Angels and Blue Jays in 1991. Over 19 seasons, Parker earned 7 All-Star Game selections, 3 Gold Glove awards, and 3 Silver Slugger awards to go with a .290 batting average, 339 home runs, and 1,493 RBI. He was elected to the Hall of Fame in 2024. All right, so to help me narrow down the choices that I had to pick my top 5 favorite Dave Parker cards, I went with the PSA Basic Topps Set Registry. It's 18 cards of his Topps playing days career, starting with his 1974 rookie card and going to his last Topps card, his 1991 Topps card. Now, here's where I would love all of you to participate as well. In the description of this video, I'll have a link to the PSA Basic Topps Set Registry checklist. And from there, you can check out all 18 of his Topps playing days cards. And from those 18 cards, would love to know in the comments which are your top 5 favorite Dave Parker cards. And if there's some other cards outside of those 18 at Topps cards that you really like of Dave Parker, feel free to put them in the comments as well, and I'll have them as honorable mentions in next week's video. Now, before I get to my top 5 favorite Dave Parker cards, last week's video was on Ted Simmons, and there were a few of you who replied in the comments letting me know which were your top 5 favorite cards of his. So I'm going to start off by going over the results of your comments from last week's video, see how your top 5 matched up with my top 5. Then I'll get into my top 5 favorite Dave Parker cards. Then I'll turn the camera around and show off the few Dave Parker cards I have in my collection. And of course, then we'll wrap things up by spinning the wheel of names again to see which player will be the focus for next week's video. So let's get started. All right, for Ted Simmons, you had 18 cards to choose from, starting with his 1971 Topps rookie card all the way through his 1988 Topps card. And there were 6 of you who replied in the comments, letting me know which were your top 5 favorite Ted Simmons cards. And here are the cards that received the most number of selections. Leading the way is his 1971 Topps rookie card. All 6 of you who replied put his rookie card somewhere within your top 5. Then it's followed by 4 selections each of his 1975 and 1980 Topps card, followed by 3 selections each of his 1977 and 1978 Topps card. Now, there were several Ted Simmons cards that didn't receive any selections by those of you who replied in the comments. His 1981, 82, 83, 84, 85, and 88 Topps cards. Now, there were 2 honorable mentions, both of these custom cards. These are the When Topps Had Balls custom cards. The first one is in the 1970 Topps design, and the second one in the 1975 Topps design. All right, so for your top 5 selected cards, how did they rank 1 through 5, and how did they compare to my top 5 Ted Simmons cards? Well, at number 5, we both agree his 1975 Topps card ranks at the 5th spot. At number 4, you had his 1977 Topps card, which I had as my 3rd favorite. And then switching things around, your 3rd favorite Ted Simmons card was the 1980 Topps card, which I had as my 4th favorite card. And then another switch up here, your 2nd favorite was his 1978 Topps card, which I put as my favorite Ted Simmons card. And at number 1, you had his 1971 Topps rookie card, which I had as my 2nd favorite Ted Simmons card. All right, moving on to Dave Parker. Again, we have 18 cards to choose from, 1974 through 1991. And for me, at number 5, I went with this 1974 Topps rookie card. Now, I'm sure some of you may place his rookie card higher up on your top 5 list. It's a nice card, nothing wrong with it. It's just not, for me, not a great picture of him, just looking off to the side with the batting cage in the background. I do like the color combination used in the design of the 74 set. With those black banners at the top and bottom, Pittsburgh and Pirates in yellow. The color combination is great. Most people probably think of this card when they think of a Dave Parker baseball card. But there are other cards that I think that, at least for me, I liked better. But I did have to include his rookie card, so I have it as my 5th favorite. At number 4, a little bit of a sentimental pick for me. I know sometimes I tend to do this with the 78 Topps cards, but that National League All-Star Shield at the top image, I have to admit, again, is not the greatest. He's probably near the batting cage, it looks like, again, just looking off to the distance. I love the uniform, though, the striped uniform. I believe that was the home uniform at the time for the Pirates. But again, the Pirates in that sort of cursive font that they used in the 78 top set. I just think looks like a really nice card. So again, more of a sentimental pick at my number 4 spot, his 1978 Topps card. At number 3, I chose his 1980 Topps card. You see the follow through swing there, the powerful swing. You had that National League All-Star second sort of banner at the top there, denoting that he was an All-Star in 1979. And you have that Pirates banner down there at the bottom, which is the 1980 Topps design feature there. Just like the overall card again with him swinging through. And so I made his 1980 Topps card as my 3rd favorite. Now at number 2, this one was a little bit harder, and you may place this one higher than me, but I went with his 1976 Topps card. I think the image of Dave Parker right there is great. If you ever watched Dave Parker, hit swing, that's sort of his classic follow through. He really had like a long winding swing, and just how he turned on the ball there. The one sort of downside on the card is maybe that the color uses of the yellow, which does match the Pirates, but then the green. But then I may contradict myself here when I get to my number 1 card. But other than that, I mean, it's a great, absolutely great looking card. But there's one card that I like just a little bit better than his 1976 Topps card. And for me, my favorite Dave Parker card is his 1981 Topps card. Now you're going to say, John, that National League All-Star banner is in green, and he just complained about not liking the green and yellow. It's at the top and it's not prevalent throughout the card. So you have that Pirates hat down the bottom in red, the prominent yellow border around the card, and again, that follow-through swing there of Dave Parker. And I love, I believe that's probably an away uniform there, the black top with the yellow pants. I think it's a great image of Dave Parker. I like the 81 Topps set, and a little bit better color combination than the 76 Topps card. So would be very interesting to see how my top 5 matches up with your top 5. I'm sure there's going to be some disagreements, but again, we all have the cards that we like for the reasons that we like them. All right, I'm going to turn the camera around now and show off just a couple Dave Parker cards that I have in my collection. All right, if you've been following along in my vintage baseball card collecting journey, I started off and continue to focus on cards of Hall of Famers. Well, the reason why I don't have a lot of Dave Parker cards is he's a fairly recent inductee into the Hall of Fame, and I just haven't gotten around to picking up some of his cards. But before I show off 2 cards here that I have of Dave Parker, since I didn't have a lot of graded cards of Dave Parker, I went through some of my boxes of cards from the late 70s, early 80s that I had, opening up packs of cards that I still had to see if I had any ungraded Dave Parker cards. And as I was looking through those cards, a couple videos ago, I did a top 5 favorite cards of Billy Williams. And if you recall, one of the cards in my top 5 was his 1976 Topps card. And I believe I made some comment of, man, I don't know why, but whenever I think of Billy Williams, I think of his 76 Topps card. There's just something about it that it sticks in my head. Out of all the other Billy Williams cards, maybe other than his rookie card. Well, the reason is, now I don't have many ungraded 76 Topps cards in my collection. I only started buying cards, opening packs in 1978. So I have a few in my collection, and I think I may have got them from my cousin, along with some 77s, a few 75s, but mainly 1977 Topps cards. I think there were a few 76 cards thrown in there. And as I was looking for a 76 Dave Parker, which I figured I didn't have, I came across Billy Williams 1976 Topps card. So considering I didn't really have many 76 Topps cards growing up, probably like 6 of them. This was one of them. So that's why when I got to the 76 Topps Billy Williams and said, man, whenever I think of Billy Williams, I picture this card. Well, now I know why. It's because this is the only Billy Williams card that I have in my collection, and I believe this is his last playing days card, I believe. So again, I just wanted to since I found the card and it's related to the Billy Williams video, I wanted to show it here to let you know that this is why the 76 Topps Billy Williams was stuck in my head, because I own the card. All right, on to Dave Parker. Now, I only have 2 Dave Parker cards to show off here. The first one I'll show off is the 1 graded card, and it's part of my Hall of Fame run for 78 Topps, which at the time when I picked this up, Rod Carew was a Hall of Famer, but Dave Parker had not yet been elected to the Hall of Fame. But because Rod Carew was on the card, luckily, I didn't have to go out and get this card. Now, I had completed the 78 Topps Hall of Fame run prior to Dave Parker getting elected to the Hall of Fame, and the 1 card I am now missing is his base 78 Topps card. Initially, they were going like crazy in PSA 8s. I have noticed that there have been some auctions at prices that have sold fairly recently, but there haven't been any bidders. So I'm hoping that I'm starting to get to the point now that some sellers are starting to realize that they can't ask a fortune for those 78 Topps cards, and maybe I'll be able to pick one up for a fairly decent price. I mean, at one point they were going for well over $100. I think the last auction that didn't get any bids was at $49.99. So I'm hoping they come down a little bit. But here's the back for the 77 batting leaders. And then the other Dave Parker card, again, that I found through looking through some of my boxes, and I didn't get into the 84, 85, 86, the later 80s, which I'm sure I have, but that would have been just too many boxes to look through. But I did find his 81 Topps card, which I have in my top 5. In fact, it is my #1 favorite Dave Parker card. Now, this one obviously is off center and somewhat beat up. Again, I pulled this from a pack back in 81, so it's been in several cardboard boxes and looked through and played with, but there's his 81 Topps card. All right, with that, let's get to the Wheel of Names, give it a spin, and see which player it selects. Okay, there are 21 names left on the Wheel of Names, which means after this selection, I'll be halfway done through Season 2. So let's give it a spin. And next week's video is going to be on another fairly new elected Hall of Famer, Jim Kaat. I actually got to meet Jim Kaat in person when I attended a few years ago a show in northern New Jersey where I went to see Wade Boggs. He was signing, and he was talking to over at a dealer table after his signing, and I happened to be there at the time and asked to get a photo with him. He was very kind and courteous and did that. So I have actually met Jim Kaat in person, so it'll be really nice to go through his Topps Playing Days cards to pick my top 5 favorite. All right, final reminder, in the comments, would love to know which are your top 5 favorite Dave Parker cards, and with that, that's all I have for you. So until next time, thanks for watching.